Hi, everybody. I'm Tamara Zoner.
And I'm John Davis.
Welcome to Spirit Cafe.
Come in, sit down, and
grab a cup of love.
A Spirituality Without the Guilt podcast. Melekaliki is the thing to say on a bright Hawaiian Christmas day. That's the island greeting that we send to you from the land where palm trees sway. Here we know that Christmas will be green and bright, the sun to shine by day and all the stars at night. Melekaliki is Hawaii's way to say Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy holidays, whatever it is you celebrate. We are here. We are 1 week away from Christmas. Well, 5 days away from Christmas. And I am really excited to come to you and talk to you about this with my cohort in bringing love to the world, Tamara Zoner. Hello, Tamara. How are you?
Hello, John. I'm pleasantly surprised. I wasn't expecting that lovely song from you. Here I was singing. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas in my head, and you come out with a Hawaiian Christmas song.
Oh, I'm a Bing Crosby freak. I love Bing Crosby music, and especially that one Christmas album where it's just his head with the hat.
Yep.
And if any of you are my friends on Facebook, that is the cover. My face on that album cover. Because I love it. I think the most rockin' version of Jingle Bells is on that album. It is. I sit there.
His version of that lately.
Yeah, him and the Andrews sisters, and it is like real quick, ragtime piano. And it's really cool. Love it. So, Christmas. Are you ready for Christmas?
I am. For the first time ever, I have shopped and wrapped in advance.
Oh, wow. Look at you.
It's a Christmas miracle. It really is. I have never
Christmas miracle
prepared. I think it's probably because, I have a little more flexibility in my time now that I've been running my own business for the last year. Right. And before I was always trying to do it around, 40 hours plus drive time of work.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of exciting that there are gifts under the tree already.
Well, that's awesome. That's exciting. I'm lucky in the fact that for the longest time, Christmas and the holidays were a very depressing time for me. And for a lot of people, I think. Mm-hmm. Right. But for me, what happened was when my wife and I separated, my son moved away to Ohio, and I came to Ohio. I was kind of compartmentalized from my family. So my family is way over on the East Coast, and I was out here. And, for me, my son deserves to have the big family Christmas and all the stuff that I had as well. So being out here alone, the only big family he had was my wife's family, my ex-wife's family. And so ever since he was 2 years old, I've spent every Christmas day in a hotel in Breezewood, Pennsylvania, because they always have their family gathering in Frederick, Maryland. So I drive to Breezewood on Christmas, stay there, get up the next morning, pick him up, and drive him the rest of the way. And then, but I've over the past several years, I've come to realize what a blessing it really is, because for me, it's like I don't have all the stresses that a lot of the people have around Christmas. I get up and I get up on Christmas Day, and I get in my car and I drive, and the roads are pretty clear, right? And I get to Breezewood and I get a free cup of coffee because the place gives free coffee on Christmas, right? So I mean, it's all pretty easy. And then I pick him up the next day, and we drive down to my favorite place on earth, Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. So I'm down there and I'm seeing my friends. So it ends up being a very good thing. So, and over the course of time, being a single father, having only one child, he's now 18. So I don't have to go through all the crazy toys that are on any of that stuff anymore, which is lovely. Anyway, I don't know why I went off on that tangent, but there you go. How about you?
Yeah, my Christmas for the last 5 years at least has been, I have my kids every other holiday. That's how we work it. So this year it all lines up kind of perfectly because Christmas Eve is a Friday, which is our switch date. And so I have them Christmas Eve morning, and then they go to with their dad for Christmas. And the first year I was just down, right? I didn't know what to do with myself without my kids. And luckily I had met a cool new friend who dragged me off to a Christmas party, and that was the start of a beautiful friendship. But I've gotten used to it, and I don't mind it, because now I really don't mind it, because one wise thing my lawyer, who's also a friend of mine, told me the very first Christmas that I didn't have my kids was that Christmas can be whenever you want it to be. Like, you make Christmas.
Right.
And so with my kids, we decided when Christmas was, and we wrote letters to Santa asking him to make it a special Christmas for us on this first non-Christmas Christmas. And it was so magical, John. We weren't even in our own space yet. We were still sharing my mom's kitchen and their house. And we turned on all the Christmas movies, and we baked Christmas cookies, and we had sent off letters to Santa. This was, 6 years ago, maybe. The kids still all loved the whole Santa magic. And it snowed, the most beautiful snow. We woke up to a white Christmas, and and Santa came, and Grandpa set traps, as is the tradition from my dad, setting traps. So when the kids go out early to sneak a peek at their gifts, pans and pots turn over, marbles Home Alone kind of a thing.
Okay. I love your father. He is the kind of father I would have loved to have had.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
Amazing. And so, then it was Christmas morning, even though it was like the 21st of December or something. And that was so magical. And then on the actual Christmas, it was brown, brown. And so we all remembered how magical that was. And that's the spirit of Christmas we carry with us each year. We don't have Christmas on Christmas. And so this year it's easy. Christmas Eve is the day before Christmas Eve, and our Christmas Day is Christmas Eve. And so it's as close to it as possible. And it's, it's what I have taught my children too, is that it's this magical spirit. That's what Christmas is to us, because we're recovered. I'm recovered Catholic. The kids aren't religious at all. But it's that spirit of Christmas magic that we carry on with us. And
I agree. Yeah. And I'll tell you one of the things that now I'm gonna tap into my little, religious history thing.
Okay.
Putting on my religious history hat. My God, I don't have hair.
You don't have a hat either.
Wow. When you look in the Bible and you look at the actual books, there's references in there to what was in bloom when he was born, what plants were blooming, and those plants in Israel bloom in September. So, all right. So in 325, when Constantine did the Nicene Council, he took all of the Christian religious holidays and put them right next to pagan holidays, meaning the winter solstice being Christmas, right? And so it made switching to Christianity from paganism easier, basically. Right. So even the date in December is not an accurate historical date. However, there's a permission we give ourselves at Christmas to be kinder, to be, more loving, and we give ourselves that permission. And I love the fact that you're saying it can be anytime, and it should be anytime. Now, I want to tell you a funny Santa Claus story.
Okay.
Right.
Santa Claus, here comes Santa Claus, right down Santa Claus Lane.
Sing it, girl.
Tell us. I just did 2 hours of Christmas songs yesterday, so I'm in it.
Nice. So, years ago, I was an actor working full time, Renaissance fairs, and a friend of mine got the contract to do Santa Clauses for the Annapolis Mall in Maryland, and she came to her friend John and said, "Would you like to be Santa Claus?" And I said, "Yes, I would. Yes, I would." So, I love Christmas, and I love that whole making magic for children. I'm just one of those guys. I go out to restaurants and the kid next to me is going to see magic tricks while we're there. Because it's what I do. I love to play with kids who are around me and stuff like that. So I go there. I'm Santa Claus. Now, meanwhile, I'm doing ho ho ho. I'm Santa Claus, right? The whole big booming voice and the whole bit. I discovered a trick. When you're the Santa Claus in the chair and they're taking your pictures, the trick is this. As you're dealing with this kid on your lap and they're trying to get the kid to look at the camera and all that stuff, you should be listening to the next person in line. The reason being is because it's usually the mom, and she's usually trying to prep the kid for what she bought them for Christmas. Right. So they're going, Billy, pay attention, Billy, because Billy's freaking out because Santa's right there. Pay attention. Remember, you want the white Power Ranger, right? You want the white Power Ranger. So I take this kid off my lap and I set the kid down and I turn and I say, Billy, is that you? Right. Wow. Oh my God. Santa knows my name. Right. And I pick up Billy. I set him on my lap and how are you today? Have you been a good boy? If you're a really good boy, I might bring you a white Power Ranger. They're like, what the hell? Santa knows everything. Right.
That's awesome.
So I'm sitting there in the chair one day and I'm in my full regalia, the beard, the glasses, the makeup, the whole bit. And I look over and the next person in line is the mother, is someone that I went to high school with in Delaware.
Oh my gosh.
Now I'm 3 hours away from there. Wow. I mean, 2.5 hours. And I go over there and I know the daughter's Anastasia and she's prepping her for a Skipper doll.
Oh, I had a Skipper doll.
Okay. So she's like, Anastasia, is that you? Yeah. Have you been very good? If you're very good, I'll bring you a Skipper doll. Oh, and do you want that delivered to your house or to your grandparents' house in Lewis?
Mom's like,
and Anastasia says, our house. Right. And then the mother goes, who are you? And I said, I'm Santa Claus. About an hour later, Mom came back through the line alone to find out who the hell knew where she lived.
I don't blame her.
Right. But I'll tell you that being a Santa Claus in the chair is an interesting experience because you really do get those beautiful moments. I had one where I was there, the line had subsided, there was nobody around, and this mother comes up with her daughter who really wants to meet Santa Claus, but is really terrified of meeting Santa Claus. Mm-hmm. And she comes up and she says, Santa, she'd like to meet you, but she'd like to meet you from here. And I would you like me to get down on the floor so you can come a little closer? And she said, yes. So I got down on the floor and she came over. And by the end of the thing, she was hugging me and doing all this stuff. And I think it was just a beautiful moment, just a beautiful moment. I have one more Santa Claus story to tell you, but it's not about me, but somebody else. And then we'll move on to better things. So after my divorce, I moved to Ohio. I ended up staying at a friend's house for a while. And my friend was a professional magician. And he had a group of magicians who would come to his house and they would have magic meetings where they would share techniques and things like this. And I'm sitting there and Kynan, at that time, Kynan was six years old. And just as cute as possible could be, not like he is now. 6'5" bearded man. Vinny was the guy's name. He says, John, my friend's coming to the magic meeting tonight. He's a professional Santa and he's in his costume. Do you want Kynan to meet Santa? I said, sure. So comes time for Kynan's bedtime. We go down to the bathroom, we brush our teeth, and Vinny comes in and gives me the wink, right? We come out of the bathroom, we start walking to go to our room, and he walks past the living room and Santa's sitting in a chair. And Kynan starts to start freaking out, like jumping, right? I said, you want to go talk to him? Yeah, let's go talk to him. So it was over. And he says, you can get on his lap, and they do the whole Santa thing, right? And meanwhile, I know what's going on with this guy being a magician. And I know that my son has a funny thing that he says. And I know I can make Santa laugh his ass off. Pardon my French. Right. So I say, did you tell Santa that you're a magician? And he says, Santa, I'm a magician. And I said, Santa, ask him why. he says, why are you a magician? And Kynan says, because I can pee without holding my penis.
That is pretty magical.
It's magical. It's like totally magic. It's a Christmas miracle. Right? Santa fell out of the chair. It was hysterical. Hysterical, right? And to me, that's like such a magical moment for several reasons. One, my son got to have Santa magically appear in the house.
Right, that's pretty cool.
But number two, we got to share a really good belly laugh over something that was so, a kid just saying something funny, right? But it was that spirit of Christmas is in the laughter as well.
It is. There's so much magic around Christmas. I remember one year I had Santa gave my girls these little telephones, these little play phones, but they were like walkie-talkie kinds of things. And so I snuck out of the room and called the one phone and pretended to be Santa, and they totally believed it, right? And for years and years they talk about that time Santa called on the magic phones, and it was so cool. They had no idea that it was me. Right. So this is what I love about Christmas, especially as one who doesn't celebrate like the reason for the season.
Right. And I don't think most people do anymore. But anyway,
I don't know. They say it, but I don't think that they live it as often. Right. And so what I try to live is just this real spirit and this magic of Christmas, and to always make it just this extra special thing. And sure, the kids love getting the gifts, but they also see the joy in giving the gifts and being thoughtful and considering what someone might like. And for my kids, they don't have any money, so they make gifts, and that's really special. Make grandma and grandpa a special card, or now make them special cookies, or now Paloma can crochet like nobody's business, so she can actually make coasters for grandma or whatever. So, and they know they don't need to make me a gift, they just need to help me clean up the mess after.
right. And that's a gift.
That's my gift. I can make breakfast for everybody, and then everybody helps clean up, and that's happiness too.
Right.
Yeah.
It's such a lovely thing. Now, looking at it from a biblical / Jesus point of view, in my view, the guy that I call Jeshua was the pure essence of love, and I don't think all the dogma and all the stuff that's been wrapped around him over the years is actual reality of what he taught. And that magic of Christmas to me is a great tribute to who he was. But like all the other very deeply Christian things that are wrapped around it, that are based in the old patriarchal society, I don't really buy into that. And then when you look at the people who like my mom, who was a master's degree in liturgy and all that stuff, when you looked at the house over on the sideboard, the whatever that table's called, I think it's called a sideboard. She had the little tiny porcelain nativity scene, but then she had the giant tree with the lights and the tinsel and the candy canes and the Santa Claus and the snowman and the light, blah, 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 blah. But over there was this little tiny nativity scene, right? Yeah. That's the tiny reminder of what all this is supposed to be about. Right. But the magic of that experience to me, and that laughter and that joy, is what Jesus would have brought and would have been. And I think it's a great tribute to him. But I don't necessarily buy into all of the ceremony and all that. Although I got to tell you, one of my favorite things on earth was midnight mass. Mm-hmm. I love the candles. I love the incense. I love the songs, and I just loved that.
I actually love the ceremony of it. I actually still every single year put out a nativity scene, even though I'm non-religious. Right. But I think it's from growing up in it. I love the nativity scene, even though, my son made the star crash through the thing into Jesus, but he's pretty exact. And the little lamb has broken all of his legs over the years.
Right.
But it's the symbolism is love. You're right.
Yeah.
And I love those little things. And I love Christmas carols. Yesterday, I'm singing Away in a Manger and Oh Holy Night. And I'm like, I love these songs. I love them for the love that they cultivate. And to me, that is so Jesus is the reason for the season can be replaced with love is the reason for the season.
Right. And to go back to what you said earlier, it can be any time of the year.
Exactly.
And should be any time of the year.
It should be. Yeah. I use should, sparingly, but we should carry the spirit with us throughout the year and share that joy and share that love and share that jolliness,
Right. It really does come down to what does the season mean? And the season does mean love, and it means, live loving and going out into the world and spreading that love. And sometimes that's as simple as smiling at the person next to you, or, making a joke, or like I said, playing with a little kid at the store, here's my thumb. Right. 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 Kids love that crap. What'd you say?
So that's scary, Santa.
See, I don't do the ho ho ho. I do the ha ha
ha. If you're only listening to this, go back and watch the video on YouTube because John just made his fingers disappear.
Yeah, to me, it's just lovely, And one of my favorite things that I used to do, and I know I sent you the CD, but I used to do a Christmas musical of the Scrooge show. Basically, it was the hack and slash version of it, and I listened to it for the first time in a long time the other day, and I'm like, I remember as I listened to it, I remembered how much I loved being there and loved being in that experience because it was Christmas again. It was my friends who I don't see all year long coming together to do a show, and we were working together and singing and doing all that stuff and hard work. But then you get on stage, and for me, theatrical experiences are what I lived for.
Right.
And that was the most gratifying theatrical experience I ever had. And I'm working with my friend Maya Rodriguez, who was she was a lead singer for Cirque du Soleil, and she composed and wrote all our music, and she came in and trained us, and it was just it was such a what I when I listen to that now, I'm like I hear the song and it brings back all those memories of all that just joyful time. And every time I think back at a Christmas, there's very few that I mean, those times when my son was in another town and I was in a hotel in Breezewood. There were some years there that were pretty sad for me, but for the most part, when I think back at Christmases, they're all positive, they're all joyful and loving, and if I think about that, being in that hotel on Christmas and being sad, why was I sad? Because I was missing not being around his love.
Yes.
And I was feeling that separation of that love, and then so it's just a matter of realizing that love is always there and never leaves us. And even when my son is with his mother, she still loves me, and it really comes down to leaning into love in general year round. And that, my young Tamara, is the spirit of Christmas.
Beautiful, John. And I do think it's so important to recognize and honor those people who don't love Christmas and who probably have shut this episode off already because we both clearly love it.
Right.
But who do have a lot of sadness and grief around the holidays. You just know that you are loved anyway.
Right.
You are loved. And if you're feeling lonely, it is that separation from love causing that sadness and that loneliness. And know that the spirit of Christmas can be simply cultivating that feeling of love within yourself.
Right.
And maybe going out and doing something kind for others, because one of the best remedies for our own grief and sadness, which is very, introspective, is to go get outside of ourselves and do something kind. So maybe you volunteer at a shelter, or maybe you go deliver toys for poor kids, or maybe you who knows, just do something kind for others if you are experiencing a lot of sadness around this time of year, because it will take you out of your own head and get you into that loving spirit. That's my
Also, if you can't find something to do for others, go out and do something loving for yourself.
yeah.
Go drive through the neighborhoods and look at the Christmas lights. Go take a walk if it's snowing outside, and go enjoy that before you slip and fall. No, I'm kidding.
Carry some salt with you.
Right. Exactly.
And sprinkle it like tinsel as you
Right,
walk.
like tinsel, like bling, bling, like glitter, spreading glitter.
Yeah,
Right?
glitter. That's what I meant. I don't know. I sprinkle tinsel.
So
Yeah.
when you're so tinsel, did you ever used to take it and stick it to your lip and blow?
I don't think I did that.
If you put it to your lip and you blow, it flickers it's really cool.
Yeah.
We did that as kids.
My brother probably did that. That's probably why I didn't.
My brother used to take it and pin it between his finger and his hand and use it like a reed and play it like an instrument.
Nice.
Yeah. So I never did that. But what was as a child, what was your best Christmas gift you ever got?
Oh gosh. I seem to have the most vivid memory of it was a family gift, but we got an Atari. So I was really, really little. It was when ET first came out. And of course, this was probably the reason my dad started setting traps, because we had all snuck out like 4 o'clock in the morning, all four of us, and saw this blow up ET, like life size ET next to the Atari. And oh my gosh, it was so exciting. So I think I loved the ET more than I loved the Atari.
Right.
It was like I was the same size.
Right.
That was the most magical thing I remember. Some of my memories around gifts are confused because my birthday's just a few days later. And so also, though, I have to say this was my most bittersweet Christmas, was that I got the Barbie dream house when I was 10 years old. And I was so excited to get that Barbie dream house from Santa, and it was too big to be wrapped. So it was just out there. And I loved Barbies. I would play for hours, my sister and I would. And then that afternoon, so if you have kiddos listening, you might want to pause and listen to this later. But that afternoon, my cousins who lived on the other side of my grandparents came over to check out all the Christmas jazz and have dinner with us. And my cousin, who was 2 or 3 years older, said, "Oh yeah, I was with your mom when she got that." Devastation.
Oh my God.
Devastation. I totally, fully still believed in Santa Claus.
Oh no, that's terrible.
Yeah. I was very angry with Donna for many years. I forgive you now, Donna.
I don't, Donna. I don't know who you are, but I don't like you. Shattering the illusions. That's terrible.
So shattered.
My favorite, I remember coming out and all the stuff was we had, when I was a little kid, we had 6 kids in the family.
Yeah, you had a lot of
and then, when my brother Jim was born, I was already 14 and my oldest sister was 24. So it was like, very different. But when we were just the 6 of us, that tree, you'd come out and the presents would be like 6 feet out from the tree.
Wow.
Like it was this massive thing. And I came out of the room and all these presents are there. And right in the middle of it was a 12-speed bicycle. And it was mine. I was like, this 12-speed bicycle is mine. It was so exciting. To me, it was the when the illusion was shattered, it was like a slow motion illusion. Like slowly it was starting to get shattered. And then one day mom just said to me, "You're too old to believe in Santa Claus."
Oh man.
And I was like, okay. From that point on, never. But and I think a lot of times kids were losing the idea of the spirit of it anyway. I mean, they would say, "What do you want for Christmas?" And I would get the Montgomery Ward's catalog and the Sears catalog in a notepad and write down the page and exactly what they wanted to buy. And I would hand them like three or 4 pages.
Too. That was one of my favorite things to do, though, was to sit down with it was probably Sears catalog and be like, "This is all the things I want." I think I eased my kids. I'm grateful none of them had it shattered like I did. I eased them in. And I think part of it was that Christmas looked different at their dad's house versus mine. So Santa did different things. At my house, it was all magical. And at his house, eventually he stopped really playing the game. So when my oldest asked the question, I always wait whenever my kids know that when they're ready, they can ask me a question and I will always tell them the truth, no matter what it's about. And so my oldest, a few years ago, it was really, maybe it was 4 or 5, it must have been 5 years ago. She's 16 now. I can't imagine this went on past 11 or 12. So she asked me, I think it was Christmas Eve, okay, who really brings the presents? She didn't ask, is Santa real or not? She's like, oh, who really brings the presents? And then she might have asked, is Santa real? And I said, well, yes, I believe that Santa Claus is real. I really do. I believe in the magic of Christmas, right? So this is what I told her. I believe in the magic of Christmas, and Santa Claus is real as long as you believe in him in your heart. And she's like, yeah, but who brings the gifts? And I said, all right, so parents typically bring the gifts, but we are caretakers of Christmas magic. And so now that you know this, then you are also a caretaker of Christmas magic, and it's your responsibility to caretake Christmas magic for your siblings and all the other little children that you know.
I love that. I love that. That is beautiful.
Yeah. So that's how it rolled out in my house, and it keeps the spirit alive with some reality, right? Like,
right. Well, I knew that kind of had bypassed Santa at my house because, like I said, he was doing the big Christmas day at his mom's house. But I knew he'd bypass it at my house when one Christmas he says, all right, Dad, this is what I want you to get me for Christmas. I was like, okay. So once that year happened, I never had to talk about Santa Claus again. And which is, sad in some regards, but really
talk about it. I'm still like, well, Santa will bring it in. My kids just laugh at me, but I can't help it.
Right. If it's funny because, like I said, when my son moved with his mother at 2, and then I started doing every Christmas in a hotel. That was the year that I stopped decorating. I stopped doing. I don't do any of that anymore because I'm gonna leave on Christmas Day. I'm gonna drive to Delaware. I'm gonna be there for several days. I'm gonna come back.
Christmas tree for your car. That's what you need.
So, well, it's so. I used to love it. I used to love the decorating the tree and the bringing, and the smell of a Christmas tree and I used to love all that. But over the years, I'm really like enjoying the fact that I can just go, oh God, I don't have to clean anything up, and you make your choices and you decide what you have to do. But it's a matter of looking at whatever you're going through from that Christmas spirit sort of thing. When I think about my son, I could have easily said I get him every other Christmas, but the most loving thing I could do for him is to give him the big family Christmas that he wasn't going to get with me.
Right.
Right. And so Christmas, Thanksgiving are always with his mom's side of the family because they come together, have a big family Christmas and Thanksgiving. And I think that every child, if they can get that, they should get that.
I totally agree. Although my children are not sad to miss the big family get-togethers. I have the big family. Their dad has just him because his mom and sister are overseas, and they don't mind missing out the big. Because they're really shy and they're my girls are a bit socially anxious. They don't mind missing it. But I'm like, no, I want you with my family.
Right. Well, what I do is he and I usually do something together afterwards, or something, and like. Let's face it, when I pick him up 9:00 the day after Christmas, and we drive to Rehoboth Beach in the cool Jeep, and we get, because we're going to go down there, we're going to drive on the beach, we're going to go play around on the sand, we're going to do all that stuff, and we're going to see my friend Tim, or and his cousins, and we're probably going to go to a movie down there because he likes to get all his cousins together to go to a movie together, and so to me, he gets a good Christmas with us.
Sure. It's just special. It's different in each place. And I think that's what makes it special.
Exactly. He told me one day that he had one, two, let me think, one, two, three. He has, it's either 3 or 4 Christmases He has his mom's house, my house, his grandfather on one side, and then his grandmother on the other side.
Even more fun.
Right. Right. And so he goes again. He's like, where's the next Christmas? He's like, off and go. Well, this has been a lovely conversation.
Yes. So I'd love to read our listeners' most beloved Christmas memories. I would love it if you shared that with us in the comments of our YouTube video or wherever you're listening to this, if you can comment, or on Facebook, and just share with us your favorite Christmas memory and pass it on, And I know that this episode will air after your event, John, but perhaps people would want to go back to your channel, John of New, and listen to your Christmas message that's this Sunday.
I'm pretty excited, and I understand you've got something coming up that you wanted to share as well.
Yes. Well, aside from singing on your event,
which I'm excited about. Excited.
Yeah, me too. Especially after it sounded good yesterday. So now after singing yesterday, I was like, oh yeah, this is fine.
I thought it was really nice of you to book a rehearsal event before coming to mine.
Right. You can be better than you do though, but anyway, and they already want to book me for next year, so that's cool.
Well, there you go.
So yes, I am hosting a free Foundations for Happiness talk on December 28th at 5 p.m. EST, and would love for people to join me there to just learn really the science, actions, and habits of happiness to support you in your journey. And no strings attached. You will leave with some new skills and new practices that you can take with you to create more joy in your life today or that day on the 28th. And so you can sign up. We'll throw the link into the info on this podcast episode. And you can also visit my website, tamarazoner.com or alifeyoulovenow.com to register.
That's awesome. I'm excited. We will definitely mention that on the live stream on Sunday too, so that the world can hear about it, because I love your stuff. I think it's wonderful.
Thank you. So it's practicality dosed with idealism. So
and that it's the practicality part that I think is so good, because you give it real simple ways of bringing it to life, and that to me is just beautiful. So is there anything else? Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy holidays if you don't celebrate Christmas.
Very happy holidays. Happy New Year. And just
happy Festivus. Festivus for the rest of us.
Happy all the things. Happy Hanukkah.
You know what Festivus is, right?
I don't know what Festivus is.
Festivus is the joke holiday made up on Seinfeld years ago.
Oh, it sounded familiar. All right.
Festivus for the rest of us. And it was funny because he had the Festivus poll, and the big holiday tradition was you'd hold the poll and give your list of grievances with all the people in the room. Which to me, that sounds like Thanksgiving.
All right, we're wrapping it up. No Christmas ended, and
send us out of here.
All right. Again, please share with us your thoughts and memories on in our comments, and just have yourself a merry little Christmas, or whatever you're celebrating. Make it beautiful, bring the love into it, and most of all, be kind and loving to yourself. And we'll talk to you again next week.
Thank you for joining us at Spirit Cafe, a place where you can safely explore your spirituality without the guilt or dogma of religion. Leave all comments and suggestions on the Spirit Cafe podcast Facebook page.